Hello, hello. All right. Hey, Virgil. I'm just sharing the links. All right, so I guess I can I'm not sure if I'm gonna record a video. Probably this will be enough, and yeah, I'm gonna stream for like 2 or 3 hours, and if I don't actually migrate it in time, I might just continue tomorrow or something, but yeah. So just a little heads up, if you don't know who WorkDev is, he has a YouTube channel and he makes a lot of videos on Next.js stacks, and I decided to basically migrate one of his stacks to React Router, and I'm basically gonna show you everything you need to do to migrate from Next to React Router. And I've already done this before, so I'm hoping this won't be hard, but yeah. Anyhow, let me just show you the app. Alright, so if I run pdev here, yeah, so this is, as you can see, a Next.js app on 15, I guess. I don't keep track of their versions, so I'm not sure if that's the latest one, but yeah, I'm assuming not. So this is what it looks like, and it's basically very similar to the Epic stack, where it's a note-taking application with authentication. And yeah, so that's basically the feature set here. And let's start by adding what we need. So I'm gonna stop the development server here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is, yeah, I love me some Windows. Let me just open up another PowerShell. Alright, so I'm gonna install Vite, and we're gonna start from there. And then we need a new Vite config. Alright, so what else do we need? So pm install React Router, obviously. And then we need the dependency of React Router slash, what was the name of the dev? Yeah. Alright, we need that. What else do we need? Oh yeah, a runtime, so Node. Yeah, maybe I should have installed all of them at once, but yeah. Alright, so npm install react router / node. Alright, so the first thing we need to do here is define a config, and of course it imports it from Drizzle. Yeah, so for Vite, so we define a config here, and we're gonna say export, yeah, export default, define config, plugins, and for now I'm not gonna do any plugins, I just wanna see, and we're gonna do dev Vite here, so Vite, and let's run it just to see what happens. Alright, so we're running Vite. The next thing we're gonna do is, and we're gonna need Vite plugin ts config paths. Was that the name of it? Yeah, perfect. So we're gonna need the React Router plugin, router dev / Vite. So React Router, and we're gonna pop it in here. And also we're gonna do import paths from Vite plugin. Alright, so if I run dev again, alright, so it can't find root. Alright, so our next thing to do is create root. So because this uses the app directory, okay, so because we're migrating it, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say react router.config.ts, and here I'm gonna import dev /config, and I have no idea what the name of it is. Yeah, perfect. So export default satisfies config, and now we're gonna have this type safety. So the app directory I'm gonna change for now to be, instead of app, I'm gonna name it source. Nah, I didn't yet. Alright, so, and we're gonna create source. And then in our source, we're gonna create root ESX. Alright, so what do we need here? We need the default export. Export default, actually no, we need the layout first. Export function layout that takes children. So children is React node, right? Yeah. Alright, so this returns HTML document, and alright, so let me just open up. And another thing that I've realized is this is pretty similar with stuff like migrating it to 10 stack. I think the only difference would be like their conventions on creating route files, but the migration itself is pretty similar, so I think this would account for that as well. But for now, let's do React Router. So because we need the HTML layout here, I'm just gonna copy it over from another project, so I don't really have to write it out from scratch. So we need, so basically HTML, the language is English, we need the meta and the links and scroll restoration, and all of this comes from React Router. So router, alright, so what do we need? Links, meta, scroll restoration, and scripts. Right. And now we have the layout. So if I do export default function root, and then I return h1 hello here, and I save this, and then I run the dev server again. It died, so let's see why it died. It doesn't have the route config now. So it found the root, so the next thing we need to add is the routes. So routes.ts, and I'm gonna export, what do I export here? Export default, import, let's see first what I import. I think it's the default export React router. We need that one, and we need routes. Alright, route, and I'm guessing, yeah, route config, so export default satisfies route config, and then we're just gonna do route something like this, and I guess we don't have a routes files yet, so we're gonna do routes slash home.tsx for now, and we're gonna create that as well. So routes, and then we pop in the home.tsx, and we save this, and hopefully now it's not gonna die. Alright, let's see what we built. Alright, perfect. So, because this is not created yet, I guess if we go back to the root, and if we actually here we just say outlet, and we render the outlet in the root itself, and then here we also export a default function home, return whatever, h1 hello. Alright, so, and now if I go back here, we have hello, and we're officially running a React Router application in the browser. And yeah, so this would be your first step here. So you get React Router to run successfully, and then we go back to our code and we figure out what to do next. So because we have the app directory here, oh, and I'm gonna add here, I'm gonna add React Router. Actually, it's like this. Alright, so it's added to git ignore, and yeah, so this runs the types, and now we need to go to the tsconfig, and this will also include .react router. Alright, I guess like this. Yes. Actually, I'm a little bit rusty on their type safety. Type gen, I guess. Yeah. What am I looking for? Right, this is not what I'm looking for. I hate searching their docs. Thanks, Luca. This one, oh, setting up type safety, this is what I need. Okay, so this I've done. Alright, so I need to, okay, I needed to include it like this, instead of this. Right. The aspect ratio looks distorted. I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not really sure on that. And now we need the root directories. and I'm gonna pop that back into here with a comma, and this is all it takes to enable type safety. So now we have that as well. So this also works, and what we're gonna do now is figure out the migration path. So this has a lot of routes here. So if you don't already know, the app directory, all of these are routes. The layout and the page are also the part of that. And before we actually start working with this, let's first enable the favicon and the styles. So the favicon is pretty simple. We just copy this and we go to public and we paste it here. And this is going to allow React Router to actually load the favicon, so that we have taken care of. And now the global CSS, and I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to move it to source. And yeah, I'm going to import it here as a side effect. So we're going to do import globals.css. And I'm gonna save this, and this now dies. Oh, and basically we need, what do we need? So pm install dev, we need Tailwind CSS, and I have no idea what their Tailwind Beat plugin is called, so let's do Tailwind Beat plugin, I guess. Yes, this is what we need. Alright, so okay, we need this. So pm install this. I'm guessing it's with yeah. Right, so we need that, and I think then we can go to our Vite config, and we're gonna import Tailwind from Tailwind CSS from Vite plugin. Actually, it's Tailwind. Alright. Save this, and let's see what else do we need to do. Alright, import Tailwind CSS. I'm not sure if this is in the file itself, but yeah, that should be all of it. So if we go back here, yeah, it's there, so it should be. So we also need dev Tailwind animate CSS. Is that a separate library? Okay, it is. Yeah, but it's included in the project already, so we don't really have to do anything on that front. All right. So now if I run the Vite, it dies again. Perfect. Okay, this is a new one for me. By require. Alright, so this error failed to resolve. This package is ESM only. This usually tells you that you're running on CJS, so we're gonna add module set to true here, and I'm hoping this will, yeah, it won't fix it. I guess I need to change the TS config as well. So let's do, oh, it's already on modular resolution. What is the modular resolution I use on the yeah, let's try yes. Yeah, okay, it's already yes next. What am I missing? The target is ES17. I'm gonna bump this to be ES22, but that's not gonna fix it. Why is this? happening? The module is set to true, right? Oh, it's not module. It's type module. Alright. Alright. Failed to load post CSS config. Let me first do this. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna delete this. Alright, so let me just see what happens now. Again, it's complaining. Alright. Let's see. The project has a post CSS config. Alright, so let me delete this and see if that helps. Right, so again, we're running. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, the hello is different. Let's see if we actually loaded up anything. Yes, alright, we have Tailwind enabled. Perfect. So now that we have styling out of the way, I'm gonna revert back the Tailwind animate CSS, and I'm gonna refresh this. And yes, it still works. Okay, perfect. So we have Tailwind up and running. So the next step is gonna be going back and figuring out. So okay, so we have added the favicon, we have added the global fonts. Sorry, not the global fonts, the global CSS. Now we have the layout and the page. So the first thing we need to figure out is, I guess, the layout, because that's the one wrapping the whole page. And let's see what we have here. So, okay, so we're gonna do fonts next. So I already actually prepared off screen the font that we're gonna use. And what I've done for fonts is I've created, what I usually do is I create something called styles here, so a folder, and then inside of there I create fonts, and what I do inside of here is just paste in the fonts, but because alright, so I'm gonna rename this to be fonts 2, and this is super slow. Let's do this. Right, so I'm gonna move this inside of here, and then I'm gonna delete this, and then I'm gonna rename this to fonts. Alright, so I usually add fonts, and there's a great plugin, and I think it's a plugin for Vite. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, so there's a great package called Unplugin Fonts. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is. So this is a Vite plugin. It's more than a Vite plugin, but we're gonna use it as a Vite plugin. And this allows you to load in custom fonts, and all you have to do is add it as a side effect in your code. So we're gonna use this to actually add the Geist font into our project. So we're gonna pick this up, we're gonna go back to our editor, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna kill the dev server again, and we're gonna install as a dev dependency unplugin fonts, so we can just do unplugin fonts. And we're gonna use this to load our fonts. So the first thing you need to do in order to load the fonts is import, what is the import code? Let's see. import unfound CSS, and if I go back to here, we're gonna import it like this, and then we need to add it in the Vite config. So I'm gonna do the following: import unfonts from unplugin fonts / Vite. Alright, so this is the Vite plugin I was saying earlier, and we're gonna do unfonts, and it takes an option, and we're gonna do the following. So the custom, so this tells it like define a custom font and its families, and the name is gonna be Geist, and the source is going to be source / style / fonts, and then everything with a VOFF2 extension. So this is gonna register our fonts in our app, and if I run it, and if I open up the dev server, yeah, so we have it. I think it should be in the head now, or it shouldn't. Oh, and one more thing I need to do is, if I go to root, let me just check if I registered it properly. Yeah, I did. So another thing we need to do is go to globals, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the following. So we're gonna define a font. So is this the theme? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna say font Geist is Geist, and we're gonna override the font sense to use the var called font Geist. It doesn't autocomplete. And we're just I'm gonna copy something I've already prepared, and that's basically the default. So if this doesn't work, it's gonna fall back to these fonts. So pretty typical font stuff. And let's refresh this and see if this is actually using Geist. Computed. Yeah, so it's using Geist as the font. Perfect. So now we have fonts migrated, and we're moving on to the next step. So it's good to basically just go step by step. Hey, Danny, morning, and welcome everybody else who's watching. So, all right, so we migrated the fonts, we migrated the CSS, and we migrated the favicon. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to layout. So this is not needed anymore in our project. Would you care to explain why would one want to migrate from a Next.js app to a React Router one? The whole idea of Next.js is to apply the developer with tooling to make the DX better and easier. Yeah, so there are a few things about Next.js that I personally don't like, and I think a lot of people agree with me. One thing off the bat that a lot of people don't know about Next.js is they actually kind of lie to you, and they use an experimental version of I'm not sure if they actually use it under the hood or just monkey patch React, but for example, if you import unstable view transitions in let me just see if this works in this project as well. Yeah, so for example, see this. So if you import unstable view transitions from React, you can actually use view transitions in Next.js, but this is actually not a part of any stable React release. Unstable view transitions, so if you go to React, unstable view transitions, and it doesn't give me the React docs that I want. Let's try React Vue transitions. Yeah, so this is an experimental feature and it doesn't actually come with a stable release of React. So I'm not sure what Next does behind the hood, but they basically lie to you and give you these exports as if they were like stable, and that's like really not okay with me. And if you want to use unstable Vue transitions, you actually have to install the experimental version of React. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Next.js is kind of geared towards Vercel, and if you want to host on Vercel, then using Next.js is completely fine. If you don't want to host on Vercel, I'm not really sure how easy Next.js is to deploy anywhere else, but they do use a lot of Node stuff under the hood. So for example, if you've used Next.js, so if I import oh no, what is it called? Cookies? How do I import cookie or get cookies? Is it get cookies? Oh, I guess it's not. I guess I have to refer to their docs. So next, cookies. Aha, it's from Next headers. So if you import this, so it's cookies, right? Yeah. So for example, this behind the hood uses async local storage from Node. And if you want to host your app anywhere that doesn't use the Node runtime, you're gonna have a fun time doing that, because this uses async local storage from Node, so it really depends on Node, so you're tied to Node deployment targets. And if you, for example, want to use Cloudflare, that's gonna be a hell of a job to pull off. And this is another issue I have with Next. And then there's the RSC story and the whole part of where they added unstable RSCs into Next.js and then called it stable and used canary releases. And if you like that, that's completely fair. But yeah, I mean, that's just scratching the surface, and there's a lot of stuff they abstract away from you as a developer, where you get to a point you don't understand why something is happening, and it's because Next.js does something behind the scenes for you that they consider a good practice, but you might not need it for your project. And it's a hell of a lot easier to add features in than it is to fight the framework to add features out. So hopefully that makes sense. And now that I've gone on this whole tangent about why I don't like Next.js, let's go back to migrating it to React Router. Alright, so back to the migration. So now what have we done up to this point? We have created the source directory, we moved a simple route there, we've added styles and fonts, and we have the root here. So the root at the moment is just rendering the HTML markup, and it's not doing anything else, and loading up the styles. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the support and watching. Alright, so what we want to do next is move the main layout over. So what do we need from the main layout? So we need these three. And I'm not gonna do analytics. I have no idea what personal analytics are. If you want a good analytics alternative, I highly recommend PostHog. But yeah, so let's see. So we've added these three adapters, and for Nux, so the good thing about Nux that I really love is that they have adapters, and if I do React Router framework, no? Alright, I need to check what the Nux adapter Right, adapters, I need it for React Router version 7. Okay, so this is the import. So if you're migrating the adapter for Nux, you just change the adapter to this and you're good to go. And let's go back to the layout. So now that we have that out of the way, this is not needed, and this is what they do. So the next, all right, so we can basically copy this over, go to our root and paste it here, and we're good to go. All right, I'm gonna save this, and this failed. Why did it fail? Oh, it didn't fail, it's just trying to fetch the well-known specific crap, so we don't care about that. And we have the layout migrated, and because this is it for the layout, and we don't really need this file. Oh, and there's metadata, so this is really easy also to change. So we just go here, we do export const, so instead of metadata you just do meta, and instead of doing this you can just do route, and the types come from, I'm gonna import it like this, so import type route from, so this is not working for some reason. So again, that directory source, tsconfig. Okay, did I not edit it properly? Types, yeah, this should be good actually. Why is this not working? Oh, it's maybe not types, it's okay, for some reason the type gen is not working. Did I miss anything in the... Alright, so compiler options, root directories, did I not put it in compiler? Alright, I did not put... Alright, so this is a rookie mistake, so this should be here instead, and then hopefully this will work. Yeah, so types, and then you get the types. So the types in React Router work by importing it from another root directory. So here the types come from root, and this comes from the .React Router types, and it mimics the folder structure that you have in your source, so it's imported from the same file as it is right now. So now we can do meta arguments, and not like this, but like this. So this will be a function, and this is gonna return actually something like, actually I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna take this out and return. So the title is gonna be something, and then I'm gonna do description something for now. And we're gonna take this, so move it to the title and copy this and add it to the description. Alright, so this should, could I define this as the meta function? Yeah, perfect. And now this is also type safe, I think. So if I save this, and if I go back to our browser and go back to the actual app that we were running, now we have the theme provider as well working, and if I go to head, yeah, the meta is added. So this is how you migrate your metadata. And I could have sworn, how did description HTML head, I just want to check if I'm adding the description properly. Meta name description content. So this means that we are gonna define it like this. So not like this, but So it's gonna be content is this, and then what did we say? So the name is the description. So name, description. And if I save this, and if I go back to our browser and go back to our app and refresh this, yeah, so content, yeah, now this is working fine. Alright, so we migrated the root layout. And now this is migrated. So this is, let's see what this is. Okay, so this is our main page. So what we're gonna do is, so before we go into this, we have successfully migrated over the root layout. So what you have to do is basically go to the source of the app and move the layout into root, and that's it. So now you have the layout, and now we can actually start migrating pages. So because this page is on the root of the app, this is your landing page. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna migrate the landing page first. So I already defined the routes here, and I have the home route, and this just says hello. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the page, we're gonna copy this, and we're gonna go back to our home route, paste it in, and save it, and pray to God this works. And let's see if I go back here and refresh. Alright, so this didn't work, and I actually already probably know what it is. So the issue is that one of these components probably has a next/link or next/image. So what do I do first, images or links? I'm gonna do links first. So we're gonna search in the project for next/link, and let's see what we have. Alright, so all of these are the same. So I import link from next link. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a simple transform to be import link from React router. And yes, so we are gonna replace this, and we have successfully gotten rid of links from Next.js. So why do we need to do this? Because we're using React router, we're not routing with Next anymore, we're routing with React router, so we replace all of these, and we just need to change href to be 2. And another cool thing that we're not gonna do just yet, because we still haven't set up everything we need for that, but basically we're just gonna go to every file that has href, we're gonna change it to 2. And okay, so here we already have this route, so I'm going to show you another thing that you can use in React router to make this type safe, and that's the href function. So this is imported from React router, and whenever you define a route, this gets regenerated and becomes type safe. So now you can actually use the href function to make this type safe, so if you ever change this to something else, this is going to complain and throw an error, so you're not directing to dead links by accident, and it all works together. And same here, so instead of this we're gonna do 2 href home, and I have a feeling there's another one here. Okay, so 2 right, let me just do this instead. Right, so this is kind of the boring, busy work that you will have to do. If you had like a wrapper around the link component, this would just be replaced in a single place, but this project doesn't, so we're gonna go do the legwork, briefly go through it and change the two. And here I think we have to also, yeah. Alright, so the components, and also we have the forms, and the forms also don't like the href. So 2. So this is kind of the second phase of the migration, where you basically have to get rid of the primitives from Next, and hopefully you just use the link and the image primitives. And we're gonna do an image next as soon as I've done with this form. I think this is the last one. And alright, so we've successfully migrated to the link, but if I go back to the browser and I refresh this, this still doesn't work. And this is because of the image stuff. So there is this great package, and let me just search the name real quick. What is the image component? Alright, I think it's unpick image. Yeah, this is the one. So this is a great library that's framework agnostic and works almost identical to Next/image. And this is what I use for our projects, and it's pretty great. So, and the cool thing about it, I think it's kind of a drop-in replacement, and it works across CJS and ESM as well. Let me just see the guide on how to add it. Yeah, you can check the docs yourself. So unpicks.pix/learn, and this is all it does behind the scenes. I'm not gonna go through this, but what we're gonna do is install it in React, I guess. Yep. Alright, so this is what we need, and I'm gonna go back to our code here. We're gonna clear the console. We're gonna clear it again. We're gonna install unpick React. Alright, so we're gonna go back to, so this is the import we need. And we go back to here, and again we search the project for, so this will be probably next image, and this will be image. Yeah, perfect. Alright, so again we're replacing all of this with unpick React, and hopefully this already works out of the box. Alright, it doesn't. Why does this complain? So this, we just change this to be a number, and we change this to be a number as well. Same here, we pop this out, change it to a number, we save this. Is anything else complaining? No. Alright, so let's run the server and see if this works now. And there we have it. So now we have the main layout and the landing page as well, and this is now successfully migrated off of Next image and Next link, and it renders the actual page, so it's not dead anymore. And it feels like I'm missing something here. Let's see. Wait, we have errors. Okay, so this is outdated optimized apps. Okay, here we go. Alright, so this is a hydration issue. Yeah, I'm not sure if this was here before, and I'm gonna check later on, but for now what's important is we have all of this working. So this is the landing page that we had before, and this is again migrated to React Router, and we have our first route migrated. So now when you get to this point, the other things become pretty simple. So what we need to do now is we just need to migrate route per route until we reach a point where we have migrated our whole application. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to So layout is migrated, the page is migrated. So now we need to migrate these routes. So we're going to start with the API route because that's the easiest one to do. And another thing this project uses is Betterauth. So Betterauth is also great because they actually have framework adapters. And what we're going to do is we are going to go to the docs again. So we're going to go to Betterauth and we're going to do what are we going to search for? React router docs. Installation, introduction. Where could it be? Oh, integrations probably. Remix, I guess? Alright, so what does it say? Okay. Yeah, this doesn't have much to do with Remix, so... Alright, so because it's pretty standard stuff, what we're gonna do is how do we handle this? Okay, so let's go to the code and do this. So because this API route is API/auth/all, so this doesn't really exist as a one-to-one in React Router. So the next thing we need to do is we need to define this route. So because it is a catch-all route, we're gonna do this. So api.auth.$.tsx. So this is React Router flat files convention, I believe. What is it, the plugin called? FS routes, sorry. And actually, we're gonna, while we're at it, we're gonna do FS routes. So we're gonna install, I think it's a dev dependency, React Router /FS routes. And in the routes.ts file, instead of doing this, we're gonna import flat routes from FS routes. So now instead of this, we're just gonna delete this and we're gonna go flat routes. So what this is gonna do is, and we're gonna delete this as well. Alright, so what this is gonna do is it's automatically going to register our routes. We just have to follow the convention that they have, and that means we need to change this to _index, and this will be our home page. So this will allow me to kind of faster iterate through the routes. And what do we need to do next? So, like I said, because this is a catch-all route, we do API, so the path is in the URL /API/auth/anything here. And then this exports a get and a post. So if we go into the route I created, so api.auth, and we go back to the docs, let's see what it says. So we need to create this API route, and these guides are for Remix, but this is identical for so it even says here, so you just change the API to api.auth. $, and you just copy this and you go back to wherever we were and paste this, and auth comes from somewhere else, so it comes from here, and instead of doing this you just do React Router. And you don't really have to use the loader function arguments, you can just do route dot, but you need to import the routes, and this should not come from root, this should come from api.auth.$. And this doesn't work because you need to actually run your app in order for it to regenerate the styles, or run the typegen script, but I'm gonna run the dev server, and I think this is gonna Yeah, so it's here, but I guess the path is wrong that I provided here. So yeah, this is probably something else. So if I do type slash, oh wait, this should not be, yeah, so type slash, yeah, so this is the path. So now we just remove this, and we can also do route action arguments, and we have successfully migrated to React Router. Alright, so this will handle the better auth endpoints, and whenever you do something on the client, this is going to hit these two endpoints, and we have the better auth integration working. Or actually, I don't think we have yet, because I think, yeah, so better auth also has integrations with Next.js, and here we don't really need this. We probably need React. Yeah, let me check their docs again. Alright, so this is creating this. Next cookies is where? Plugins. Yeah, so we don't need this plugin because we're not using Next. And I actually think this would work, so let me just check. Okay, yeah, I think this will work. So this is the migration to the actual better auth from Next to React Router. So you basically change the endpoints slightly, you remove the plugin for Next, and you're pretty good to go. This uses Drizzle, so I'm not sure. Yeah, this is the adapter for Drizzle, so you're pretty good to go. And that's it for the API routes. So we have successfully migrated this folder over, and now we have the login, sign up, reset, and forgot password, and the dashboard as well. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do the login. So the login page is pretty simple. So this is kind of the easy part because the convention is same in Next and React Router. So if you actually copy this, what you can do is you can just go into here, and then you can say login.tsx and paste this in. And you have migrated the login page, but not really, because this is the catch here. The login form uses, or actually no, okay, this is not the form that uses it, but okay, so the router push is another Next.js thing, so from Next navigation. So this is pretty easy to change as well, so all you have to do is change it to be React Router, and instead of use router, use navigate. And then you just do the following. So you replace this, and instead of router, you're gonna call it navigate, and instead of doing router push, you just do navigate, and you have successfully swapped it out. So this is pretty easy as well, and we save this, and I think this should actually work now, and we're gonna do this for all the other forms as well. So the sign up form, let's see if this uses anything that it sign up user. Okay, so this is the part where we actually have to do some work. So the sign up form uses React hook form, but what it does is it checks the passwords here, and then it tries to submit to a server action, and this is still, well, soon this will work in React Router as well, but at the moment React Router doesn't support React Server Components or server actions, and this is a server action. So what we need to do is, instead of calling this here, we need to migrate this to action. And because we use the sign up form on the sign up page, how we're going to do this is the following. So email, password, and name. Okay, so this, we copy this code. So this is our server action, and we're gonna go to routes, and we're gonna create the sign up route. So the first thing we need to do actually is go to sign up here and copy this over. And because we use the sign up form, like I said, so this is a server action, and because React Router doesn't have that yet, what we're gonna do is we're gonna export an action. And check this out. So first of all, we're gonna say route, and let's see if it, yeah, so route type sign up, and for now this is loader arguments, and we're gonna return nothing. Well, we're gonna return an empty object for now, but it doesn't matter. So the sign up form, so the sign up form calls the server action. So because this doesn't work in React Router, we're gonna move this into the action. So we're gonna go to our sign up form and we're gonna paste this in here. And we're gonna import this from server/users. We're gonna make the action async. And the values don't exist. So what are the values? So the values are, so in order to get the values, we are gonna do the following. So the request, and we need the form data from the request. So we're gonna do that by doing await request form data. And then what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do the following. So const values is email is form data dot get email, and let's hope ChatGPT helps, Copilot helps. Of course it doesn't, but when I want to add, when I don't want to add anywhere, it helps there. And we're gonna do name is form data dot get name. Alright, so for now, we just want to make this work. So we're going to do this, or actually as string, because form data can either be a string or what was the second thing? I think it's a file, if I remember correctly, but that doesn't matter now. And then instead of returning nothing, we return the response. So this is how you migrate a server action to use React Router. So basically just move it to here, and then the sign up form, instead of using the server action here, it is going to do the following. So we're going to submit to the route. So how we do that is we say here const, I think it's use submit. Yeah, this is what I need. So, all right, so here we're gonna create form data. And we're gonna do the following. So form data set email is values email, form data dot set password is values password, and form data dot set name is values dot name. And now that we have the form data, we're gonna do submit. This takes right, so this takes the form data, and the way you define the submit target is Man, I haven't done this in a very long time. I can't even remember the API anymore. Use submit. Okay, this is what we need. So the method is post. Method. Oh, no, wait. This is not supplied here, it's supplied here. Method is post, and the action is href signup. So this will submit your data to the signup route. Sorry about the aspect ratio, I have no idea how I messed that up. I'll have to figure it out after stream, because I really am on a tight schedule here, so I'm just trying to wrap this up before I finish the stream. So now that we are submitting to the action, we don't need this anymore, and we don't really need this either. Well, actually, we're gonna move this somewhere else, and that is the signup route. So if we go there, I'm gonna do a use effect. And I'm gonna do the following. So route component are props. And here we're gonna do action data. And this is gonna depend on the action data. And alright, so because we're returning the response from the action, so we can do the following. So if not action data, return, and this will cover the case where we don't want this to fire, and then we can just do action data dot success. So we just replace this and we import Sonar and we do this. Alright, and this is the one-on-one migration from a server action to the actual React Router way of doing this. And now we have the signup route, and let's see what else we need to migrate. So the login route, so let me just check if we have done everything. Submit, and that's pretty much it. Okay. And this, so the sign up with Google uses the actual auth client that's on the client, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so this uses a client on the client side, so this is safe, so we don't have to do anything here. And we have covered the sign up route. So the login route, let's see what this does. So sign in, so same story with the Google one. Sign in user is this. Yeah, so this again is a server action, and this requires the email and the password. So what we're gonna go do is we're gonna go here, we're gonna copy this, we're gonna go here, we're gonna paste it, so this doesn't require the name, and then we just need, what do we need? So login form, we need sign in user. And we go back here and we do sign in user, and we kill this and we save this, and I think does this do notifications as well? Okay, it does. So basically we need the same as the sign up form. So we're gonna go to sign up, we're gonna copy this, we're gonna paste it here, and we're gonna open this up, and we're gonna do route component props, and this is complaining because I have not imported the route. Login. Alright, and we imported toast. And I'm guessing the messages are different. Alright, so here we just navigate to the dashboard. I'm gonna close up public and server and lib because we don't need those and it's kind of confusing. So here we're gonna say navigate to dashboard, const navigate is equal to use navigate, and we're going to the dashboards. Perfect. Alright, so let's see if there's anything else in the sign-in form. Okay, so this also shows the toast success like this, so we replace this, and this should be action data. Alright, so this is the login form, the sign-up form. Now we need to migrate the reset and the forgot password. And again, so this is pretty much one-on-one moving it. So we're gonna do dashboard next because I kind of wanna go into this scenario. We're not gonna do forgot password and reset password because you get the point. So basically you swap the server action into the action of the route export and you're good to go. So let's do dashboard next. And how are we gonna do that is we're first gonna look at what dashboard has. So the dashboard has a layout. So this means that we need a pathless layout in React Router. So this would be, I'm very conflicted because the short version of dashboard is DB, but DB is database, so I'm gonna do dashboard.tsx. So when you do an underscore, this means when you do an underscore, sorry about that, this means that this is a pathless layout that's not included in the URL. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna, actually we're not gonna do that, we're gonna go to the dashboard layout, copy this, and then paste it here. So as you can see, time and time again, like migrating the app router is pretty simple. Because the convention is pretty similar, you just have to change these small things and you're good to go. So I'm gonna run the app again because we haven't done that in a... Oh, it's actually running the whole time, perfect. So I'm gonna go back to nodes and let's try signing up. So I'm gonna do alem at forge42.dev, alem, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sign up. Alright, so what did we do here? Process is not defined at auth client. Interesting. Alright, so something I completely forgot about is environment variable handling. So if we search public, actually no, next public, right? Alright, so here, and I'm gonna delete this so it's a little bit more clear. So this is where auth client, I think that's in lib, right? Yeah, so here, Alright, so we have a few options here. I'm just thinking what the best one is because this doesn't run in how do I? Alright, so the easiest way you can get around this is you can do so this runs, let's take a step back. So this runs in the browser, and the browser doesn't have a process.environment. So what we need to do here is we actually need to allow the browser to read environment variables. And the easiest way to do that is the following. So you go to the root, and now what we need here is a loader, and the loader is gonna do the following. So because the loader has the access to the environment variables, what we can do is we can say const what was it? Next public base URL. So we're not gonna need next public, we're just gonna do base URL. Const base URL is equal, actually we're gonna do the, yeah, and process.environment.base URL. So this is the easiest way to do this, and now that we return it, I'm gonna do the following. So here in the outlet, the outlet is needed in any case, but what we want to do is, because we want to set the environment variables on the client, how we can do that is by defining a very simple script, and let me just pick it off of one of my projects. Alright, so here it is, and I'm gonna paste this in and I'm gonna explain what this does. So script, so when you inject this script on the client, it's going to set the window.environment to be JSON.stringify and then the client environment. So this is not available to us yet, but it will be soon. So we're gonna do component props, and the component props are gonna be loader data. And here, instead of base URL, we're gonna say client environment is an object that returns the base URL. So if we want to add something later on, we can. And this protects your environment variables. They are staying on the server, but on the client we are exposing what we need. So on the client, we can now access this by doing loader data dot client environment. And if I save this, this is gonna work, but the issue is that we are still not using it in the auth client. So here, there's a little trick you can do with React Router, and because it runs on the client and on the server, there is a way to basically use process on the server and client and the window on the client. So what we're going to do is we're going to say poly environment, and this is going to do the following. So type of window is different than undefined, so this means it's on the client. If, oh man, I'm afraid to pronounce it. Hey Francois. So window dot environment, otherwise process dot environment. And here, instead of doing this, we're gonna do base URL. Alright, and instead of doing this, we're gonna do poly environment dot base URL, and this is gonna work. And because the types are complaining here, we're gonna go to root and we're gonna declare global. Man, I always forget this. I think it's. Let me just check. Okay, this is it. Okay, so we define an environment, and here, instead of doing this, we're gonna do a type of loader, but we don't need a type, we need a I think it's gonna be this. Yeah, so now we are saying that the environment is whatever this loader returns, and it's under client environment. So this is gonna make window.environment type safe. So for example, if I do window.environment dot whatever, I get base URL as string or undefined. Yeah, the live session is gonna be available on the channel, so you can watch it at your own pace whenever you want, because YouTube saves the live streams automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to watch the 3 hours in one sitting. You can just do it at your own pace, so don't worry about it. And I'm glad I pronounced it correctly. I've been playing Clair Obscure 33, and I kind of learned a lot of French words, like the one that starts with P and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyhow, it's back to the migration. So now we have the client environment set up, and yeah, I actually added the Next adapter earlier on, and I actually had to go to the docs to remember the actual name of the adapter. Alright, so now that we go, if we go to the console, so this is causing the hydration issue. So let me just check out the root here. Class name dark, style, color scheme. Yeah, I know what it is. So if you're using, so this project uses Next/Themes or whatever the project is called, and they actually inject those two things on the HTML here. So we're just gonna suppress the hydration warning on the actual HTML element, and I think this would solve it. Yeah. Okay, now we have 0 issues, and let's try to sign up again. Alright, I actually signed up. Yes, it is. It's NodeForge. I actually use this project because I just needed like a Next.js app to migrate, and I had none, so I grabbed his. Right, so let me just check if I got the email now, and I also send it to my work account, so now I need to. So now I have no idea if I actually signed up or not. I mean, the notification was sent, but I don't know if I have to confirm the email first. What happens if I click it again? User already exists. Okay, let's try to log in then. Okay, so the sign up button is not working. Let's check what that's about. Whoops. Okay, I just opened my email, whatever. Where is it? Why is this not? Okay, so this. Okay, so this needs to be base URL here. I missed that part. Alright, so what was I gonna do? Alright, so the sign up form. Okay, this actually is good. So what happens when I go to login? What did the button not work? Okay, that's super weird. Weird. Okay, so here All right, so let's clean up. So this is right. So I have no idea why it didn't work. And the login form does not redirect the user, right? Form, sign in, submit. No, it doesn't. Okay, that's super odd. Alright, so anyhow, I will figure that one out later. But what I want to do now is I want to figure out where the process is coming from. So process dot but why is this used? Okay, so let's go back to the browser and figure out where the process is coming from. So alright, so it's coming from drizzle.ts. But why is this used on the client? Now this is an interesting problem. So for some reason the drizzle database is used on the login. Wait, did I not delete the... Ah, here it is. Okay, so this is probably the reason. Alright, so here again, as I said earlier, what we need to do is we're gonna create form data. Did that change? Well, yeah. So, form data, new form data set email is values.email, and then form data.set password is values.password. Alright, so we're gonna submit this, and we're gonna do that with the hook. So const submit is use submit, and here we delete this because we already moved it out of here and we don't need the server action anymore. We're just gonna call submit. We're gonna set the form data and we're gonna say that the method is post and whoops, not post2 but post, and the action is href login. Yeah, I could. To be honest, I don't really like accessing the yeah. So the usual thing we do in base stack in Force 42 is, in the root, we actually, when you run your server, we actually use the environment and we fetch it from here and pass it to the client. And the reason we do that is because with environment variables need to be present there on build time, which means if you're building an application, you need to set environment variables wherever that's being built. So for example, if you're building it on GitHub, you're going to have to inject the environment variables there, and then probably you're going to have to inject them somewhere else, like on your Fly machine or Cloudflare or wherever, and that just leaves you open to multiple points of like getting them exposed and stolen. So what we usually do is we get them in the loader because that gets them from wherever you're hosting the application, and then we pass it to the client via returning it like this, and that way wherever you're hosting your application, you just need the environment variable set there and that's it, so you don't really have to do anything else. And that's why we don't really use Vite for handling environment. You can, I'm not saying you can't, you can also use their like vit underscore public or whatever the prefix is, and that's gonna auto-inject them. But the downside of that is you have to have them available at build time. So that's really the TLDR of it and how we use it, and why I wouldn't use vit, but you definitely can use it. Alright, so what was I doing? Oh yeah, moving. Alright, so I think if I refresh this, perfect, now we're not using Drizzle on the client anymore. Alright, so let's see what we tried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Login, and I'm on the dashboard. I have successfully logged in and it doesn't work, so that's great. But it doesn't work because I haven't created the dashboard out yet. Alright, so back to actually creating the dashboard. So, like I said earlier, the underscore dashboard is your layout. And so the layout does not render anything in the URL. So we need to actually add another route. And let me again go back to the dashboard. And so dashboard page is dashboard/nothing. So what we need to do is we're gonna do the following. So dashboard dot dashboard. And this kind of seems repetitive, but the reason we do that is because the dashboard, the underscore dashboard is the layout, and then this is your actual page. And perfect, this uses RSCs, so I'm gonna have to migrate it again. So thank you OrgDev for using RSCs everywhere. So yeah, so migrating over from an RSC to a loader is pretty simple. So this is what you do. So if you didn't follow what I did, I basically created so I basically moved it out of the component into the route, and that's pretty much it. And then you do loader data, and then const notebooks is equal to loader data dot notebooks. And we have successfully migrated from an RSC to React Router component. And alright, so let's see if these are RSCs as well. Sounds good. You can listen to me ramble about you using RSCs in the meantime. Alright, so this is use router again, so use navigate, whoops, not use animate, but use navigate. Navigate. Alright, so this is a tricky one. So the navigate doesn't have a refresh, but what you can do is you can do sort of a hack where you actually just redirect to the same route. And I think if you do replace, it might act as refresh, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure this is the equivalent of React Router. And yeah, this looks like pretty cookie cutter stuff. If I remove this and save it, let's go back to the browser. So okay, so outdated optimize that process is not defined again. Alright, so again we are leaking delete notebook. So this is a server action again. And that's on handle delete. Alright, so let's think about this. So we have multiple ways of handling this, and one of them is submitting to the actual route, but what we haven't done is we haven't used fetchers. So let's try to create an actual API route to actually delete a node. So this is up to you. you don't have to do this. You can actually submit to the same route again and it will work. Interesting. So router.refresh is about the client cache in Next.js. So client cache, so I guess it refreshes the cache. I guess I have to wait for you to actually hear the... Yeah, so let's go back and I'll just... So basically, I guess if you don't need to refresh anything... so I guess in Next.js if you do refresh, it refreshes the page and doesn't show the deleted content. If that's true, then that's even better because we don't need this. Because loaders... Yeah. So because loaders are gonna re-trigger, you don't really need to do anything. You can just do this. And the only thing we need to take care of is this. So for the sake of showing you the whole React router ecosystem, I'm gonna create an API route, or a resource route rather. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a fetcher to submit to that route and handle this. So api.notebook.delete, I guess. Alright, so here we're gonna export an action. And again, we're gonna import the types first. So import type route from whatever the types. Whoops. This one. And what do we need here? I guess we need a request. Route.action arguments. Okay, so the dot refresh in next 14 is flushed the client side cache of received RC payload, so you could stitch without going back through the server. Yeah, then in React Router you don't really need to do anything. You're pretty much spot on that. So here, so what are we doing? We want to delete notebook. So let's see how we actually do that. So I think it is on node card, right? Okay, so delete node needs an ID. Yeah, so it's still not out yet. From what I've played with React Router server components in framework mode, they automatically refresh the server components whenever you submit something. So I'm guessing what that would mean is you would refresh the server component, and if there's a client component in the middle of it, it would probably refresh as well. That would be my professional guess, because that makes the most sense. But when you think about it, I think, if you stream RSCs from the server to the client, you've already streamed the client side part, so I'm guessing you really don't even need to make a request to the server for that part, because it's already available as a bundle on the client. So I guess what would happen is you would stream the new RSCs in, and you would already have the client side components there, so you would just basically swap the RSCs and render the components without fetching anything. That's my professional guess, but yeah. Anyhow, so we need to remove the server action. So what we're gonna do is what are we gonna do? We are gonna Okay, so so now I'm thinking if actually I'm not gonna do API notebook delete. I'm gonna do something else. So I'm gonna do API notebook note ID, and so this will be note ID, and check this out. So now we have access to params, and because note ID has to be there, what we can do is the following. So if request.method is not delete, we are gonna return success false, and message is wrong method. Thanks, man. See you around, and thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I think we're almost done with the migration anyways. I mean, most of it is already covered, so yeah, this is just a matter of showing people what you can do. Alright, so now that we have the action and the method is correct, we do the following. So the note ID is params.noteID. And then we call await, actually const response is equal to await delete note ID. And then we return the response. And this is async. Yeah, so the response returns a success and the message, and we return that here as well. So we have covered, so this action now returns a correct structure in all cases, and we save this. So check this out. What you can do is you can create a fetcher called export function use delete ID fetcher. And you don't really have to call it fetcher. I just like to be explicit about it so I know what it's doing. And sorry, it's not use delete ID, it's use delete node fetcher. And then we do fetcher is equal to use fetcher. So this takes an optional key and yeah, so we're gonna key it to be API/notebook/delete. So whenever you use this fetcher, the key is gonna be the same. So check this out. How do we make this better? So because a fetcher has the submit method, right? So when you do fetcher.submit, you can see that it's a method, and it takes the target as the first argument and it takes the submit options as the second. So what we can do is we can say that the submit function is overloaded, so we just take the note ID as a string and we do fetcher.submit. We're gonna do I think if you do JSON stringify note ID to string like this, yeah, this works. And then the options, we're gonna do method is delete, and the action is href this, and this also requires the note ID. Alright, and this is a custom fetcher that's gonna delete our nodes whenever we want to, and this is your React Router resource route. So this route is basically used to delete nodes, and now we can use this fetcher inside of the node card. So here we're gonna do delete node fetcher, use whatever the name was, yeah, use delete node fetcher. and this is right. So my TypeScript server died, so that's good. I'm just gonna manually import it from why is this not? Oh, it needs to be app source. Well, slash. Alright, so it comes from here. So, what does this fetcher do now for us? So now, instead of the server action here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say delete node fetcher, submit, and what was the node.id. And this is gonna delete the node. So you can await this, and this doesn't return anything. So here it refreshes if it catches. Right, so this needs to change a little bit. So use effect. So let's analyze the code. So the handle delete submits to the deletion, it waits for it, and then if it's successful, it logs this. If it's not, it logs this, and then finally set is deleting and set is open to false. So how do we do that in a React Router way? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to delete node fetcher dot data. So this is gonna be the data returned by the action that we defined earlier. So if it's not there, return undefined. Or actually just return here. And if it's there, we are gonna copy this, and instead of this, it's gonna be delete node fetcher dot data dot success, else fail to delete node, and then we move this here. All right, so what are we doing? So, and here we just move this outside and delete all of this. So basically what we have done is we have just shifted the complexity from one place to the other, and unfortunately there are no like on error, on success, and those kind of lifecycle hooks in the fetchers. If there were, this wouldn't even require an use effect. But for now, we just have to use an use effect. And this is gonna allow us to basically show a notification to the user what happened, and that's pretty much it. So we're submitting to the, where is it? Yeah, so here we are submitting the node ID and we delete it. And what we can actually do is, instead of submitting it here, we remove it from here, we go to the implementation, and then it didn't take me to the implement. Okay, here, and then here we can say node ID is string, and then we can also add this to here, so node ID, and I need to do it like this, node ID, and define this. All right, And now this is going to scope the fetcher to the actual ID of the node that's going to be submitted, so it's more granular. And again, we are sending it here, so we don't really need this here because we already have it from above. And alright, so we save this, and that's pretty much it. So you can also change this to be form data. So for example, you can do new form data, and then form data dot, and for example here, instead of, we can actually do it like this. So form data, instead of defining it like that, we just set it to be node ID, and node ID is node ID, and then instead of submitting JSON stringify, we submit form data. Or actually, I'm stupid. So because we're submitting to an action like this with the node ID in the URL, we don't really need to submit form data. We just do null here. And that's pretty much it. So you really don't need to submit the form data at all. You can just submit nothing, and because it's included in the URL, we just extract it from there, and that's it. So that's how you use fetchers. Alright, so back to our original example. Here everything is working fine. The TypeScript server for some reason keeps dying on me, but this should not be complaining anymore. Yeah, we changed this to not complain anymore, and now we have to provide the node ID here. So node ID. Alright, and that's all the changes for this, and let's see what happens when I actually refresh this. Alright, again we have a server. Actually, let's figure out why our dashboard is complaining. So if I remove this, and if I remove all of this, and if I go back to the page and refresh, again there's an error. And if I delete, if I make this a div, and then I again refresh, again there's an error. Oh, maybe because it's async. No. Why is this? Maybe it's here. Okay, let me revert whatever I did here. And also remove the async, and then let's dashboard layout. Yeah, so the dashboard layout, I didn't even notice this before. This is not how you do layouts here. You actually don't take children, you just do an outlet. So this should be an outlet. And we're gonna import an outlet from React Router. And this should, and if I delete this, let's see what happens. Okay, expected app router to be mounted. Okay, this is good. We're making progress. Right. So the sidebar provider, let's see what that's about. My TypeScript died, so I have to manually open the files. Alright, we don't need this. Let's see if anything stands out. Okay, this looks good. Actually, let's do this. Next/something. Okay, middleware we haven't gotten to yet. No. Alright, so use router is here. So now what we need to do is we need to replace all instances of use router with use navigate, because one of these is causing the issue on the page. Navigate. Where is the bugger? Oh, here it is. So this is not needed. And then we, I guess, don't need the navigate as well. Yes, so this is removed. This we don't need. So use client you don't really need. So you can just remove it everywhere. You don't have to, but you can. So, I mean, if you plan to migrate to React Server components later on, maybe it's a good idea to actually migrate, but just so you know, you don't really need it. Alright, so it's used here as well, and let's see the implementation of it. Yeah, I have to refresh it again, so we don't need it. Where else? Use router. Router. Okay, am I blind here? Okay, so it was just imported in this file. Here we don't need the router. Okay, so router push. Okay, here we actually need the navigate. So navigate to this. Import use navigate from React router. Save the node card. Okay, this we don't need. Use router we don't need. Router refresh. Okay, so we don't need this. And we don't need this. Right. Use search params, use router set form. Create notebook. Right, so this we also don't need. Oh man, I'm gonna die without TypeScript here. Okay, we don't need this. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to change these a little bit. Alright, so let's see if this works now. Alright, so we have the create notebook button, and this uses an RSC again. So we're gonna go to create note button. Right. And again, alright, so again we need to create a route. So let's think about it. So this is the create the node button, and it's located somewhere on the dashboard. Again, it's pretty separated from what the dashboard route does, so it doesn't make sense to have something like dashboard creating nodes. So we're gonna do API notebook again, and we're gonna do create. So here export const action, and by this point I think you're starting to notice that the hard part of the migration is actually just mostly over, and what we're doing now is just migrating a route per route basis, and that's pretty easy to do so once you've got it down. And for some reason my TypeScript server has died and is not restarting again, so that's perfect. I can't auto import anything or do anything, so that's really cool. Anyhow, import type router types. This will be API notebook. Here it is. Perfect. Alright, so back to what we were doing. Route.actionArgs. And then we get the request again. And let's think about it. So what are we expecting in the create node button? So the title is a string, content, and notebook ID. Again, we do the same thing. And I'm gonna install something that's gonna make my life easier, and that's a Remix hook form. So this is a library I created for handling forms, and this is gonna make it so that it's easier for us to send and parse form data. Alright, and we're not gonna use, so you can actually use it without using the hook. So check this out. So what we can do is we can go to here and we can say, and I'm gonna install Zod again, or actually is Zod installed in this project? Zod, it is, perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the dev server again. I'm gonna go to notebook create, and here I'm gonna do this. So const is get validated. Of course it doesn't. So import from remix hook form and get validated form data. So get validated form data, and it takes the request and the schema. So we provide the resolver, and that comes from the Zod resolver, and it needs the Zod schema. So let's go find it in our project. So node card uses no, it's not node card, it's create node button. Okay, so this one, and we're gonna hello, welcome. So we're gonna export this form schema, and we're gonna rename it to actually be create node schema, and we're gonna go back to where we were, and we're gonna import it here. Alright, so this will get us the errors. Actually, it's, what was it? I can't remember the API. Oh wait, it has to be await, and this has to be async, right? And then here I can pop out the errors and the data. So this utility just extracts the form data and validates it. Yeah, it's going great. I'm almost at the point where I have the node system working. I just need to migrate a few routes to actually use like fetchers and stuff instead of using server actions, because server actions are not a thing. But yeah, I'm pretty close to it. So if errors, return errors. Otherwise, we have type safe data here. So, oh, wait a second. Right, so basically you're kind of lying to the schema here. What do I do about this? I'm gonna create so this schema kind of lies because it takes only one field, but it requires 3. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say create the node full schema, and this is gonna say the object name, notebook ID is that string min1, and what was the content is the objects Yep. Right. As the object is fine. Alright, so create node full schema. So we are gonna use this inside of here because we don't want to lie what the form data is. And we're back on the horse again. Alright, so now if there are errors, we return them. Otherwise, we are gonna await create node. And I'm gonna be able to pass in data, hopefully. So data, and the title is data.name. Okay, now this works, and this is gonna return a response, right? And we return this response. And instead of returning errors here, we're just gonna return success is false and message invalid data set. Alright, so now we can actually create nodes. And again, we can just create a custom fetcher for this. And you can do this the following way. So here, we actually, unlike the previous delete method, we want to submit data here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say use effect, not use effect, sorry. Alright, so first thing we need to do is change this. So we don't want to take anything here. Do I omit the key? I'm going to omit the key. And then what we're going to do is we're going to submit a post request to create, and this argument is not required anymore. That's actually a good point. So why don't you have one schema and that content and notebook ID in default values? That's a good question. I think we could do that as well. Where was it? The create node button, right? Yeah. Okay. Alright, I think this works as well. Okay, good point. I'm gonna go back to our notebook create. We're gonna change the schema. And we are back to where we were. So, import use fetcher, import this, and so check this out. So now that we're using hook form, what we can do is say form data is equal to create form data from hook form, and we pass it the form data. So the form data is gonna be this. So zo.infer type of, what was it? Create node schema. And then we import zod. And this is complaining because it's not wrapped in, whoops. Right, and data. And we submit form data. Alright, and we just successfully migrated it to this fetcher. So now this fetcher can actually use the submit to submit to the right route. So now we can, why do I have an error here? Did I miss something? What am I missing here? This looks correct. What the heck am I missing? Is this just like a random TypeScript issue that's being falsely reported? Yeah, it is. Alright, so now we use this in the create node button. So we just const create node fetcher is equal to this. Yeah, for some reason that's not the reason. My TypeScript server keeps on dying for some reason every like few minutes. I'm not sure if it's the live stream causing it or whatever, but it's not use delete node fetcher, it's use create node. Yeah, fetchers are while we wait. I think I'm gonna restart the TypeScript server, and while we wait. Yeah, fetchers are really great because you can use them for stuff like this, and usually when you can use them is in situations where you're kind of you have some sort of very minuscule functionality that's reused across places, and deleting nodes is like one of them, or creating them, where you can maybe create them with a button, you can create them in another place and stuff like that. So fetchers are kind of great for these use cases, and I just wanted to show you like how you create custom fetchers and then use them to your advantage. And we're gonna use create node here, and hopefully this renames it here. Yes. Alright, so now that we have that, instead of using the server action, we just do create submit values, and we await this, and we delete this, and then again we do the use effect. So check this out. So instead of doing the use effect here, what we can do is we can oh my god, this TypeScript issue is gonna kill me. We can define on success void, and on what would be on error, I guess, void. And what we can do here is say use effect whoops, import this. This needs to be on success, on error. And TypeScript is really starting to piss me off. Okay, so because we have the access to the fetcher here, we can do if fetcher data, or actually if not fetcher data, it's easier to do it like this, and then if fetcher data dot what is it? Success. And we actually have to type the fetcher here. That's something I forgot. So type of action, and this should, yeah. So now this is actually typed, and this we should do that in the node ID here as well. So type of action, and check this out. So now we can just call on success, and if fetcher data dot success not success, and we call on error. All right. So now we have a super fetcher, and actually we don't really want to make this required, so we can just do this and also mark this as optional. So, and make this, I think this is the way to, I hate, yeah. And we're gonna do params, and then we're gonna do const, we're gonna do it like this, because I know the syntax already and TypeScript is not playing nice. Alright, and here we're just gonna do this. And let's restart and see if that works. Okay, perfect. Alright, so back to this. Alright, so now on success, so what are we doing here? For me set toast open. So paste that in here, and this probably needs to be under form, and then this goes in on error, and the issue is now we don't have the response here, so we're just gonna extend this to be return type of action. And then fetcher.data and fetcher.data. I have no idea what I'm gonna do about TypeScript here. It's starting to really slow me down. And this needs to be probably weighted. No, then I need to probably grab this and weight it. Okay, what's going on here? Oh man! Okay, so the awaited goes outside. I always mix those up. And this should be like this, I think. Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, the messages are late, and I figured it out before you wrote it. But yeah, that was the thing I needed to do. All right, so finally this is working, and now we can say response here, and it's typed. And there we have it. So this is gonna trigger this, and because we have these fallbacks, we're gonna paste these in too, and we have successfully migrated so what do we need? Okay, so we just need to do this. Alright, so our on submit now is again pretty simple. We just submit the values, and then here when successful we reset the form, we do the so basically all the logic we did before, and on error we again show the error message and set is loaded into false. So this is kind of how you can also use callbacks inside of the loader, inside of the fetcher, and the fetcher itself handles everything, so you don't really have to like do much else yourself. And alright, so that's how you do that. So let's see now. If I delete this, are we gonna have the same issue here? Wait, what's going on here? Alright, we are. Alright, so let's go to the dashboard and try to figure out what's causing this. And actually let me stop the server because it seems to be kind of okay. So what could be causing this? So now we are gonna do the good old removing of the app sidebar. Okay, I removed it, but it's not removed. Why? I can't. Okay, it's not the cache. Sidebar provider, does that offer any sort of oh yeah, this looks like a normal sidebar, so it shouldn't be the app sidebar. I wonder if I delete this, would it still cause issues? Okay, so it's definitely something here. If I delete this, it still causes issues. If I delete this and leave the main class name. Okay, what's going on? Okay, let's. Layout doesn't render anything. If I inspect this, so the body is, yeah, it's empty. head is maybe it preloads the modules and then that causes an issue. Let me just try to remove everything from here as well. Div save. Okay, so it preload. Yeah, it's not the use server directory. So this is caused by the fact that it's preloading. So it tries to load the server action on the client, and that crashes. And so the easiest way to fix it is to actually wrap. Alright, so let's try doing this. I think the page wrapper. Oh wait, maybe it's logout. No. Okay, so we need to figure out where this is coming from. So because the server has notebooks logic, let's see. Get notebook. Here it is. Oh wait, this is okay. Here we go. The app sidebar also gets the notebooks. So what we need to do is so first of all, here we need the request. Alright, the request headers. What does this want? Okay. Alright, so I figured it out. So here we need the request. So route, and I'm gonna do loader args, and we're gonna pass in the request here. So this handles this part, and now the where did we say we were fetching it in again? The app sidebar, right? Okay, yes. So the app sidebar is used here. Okay. Okay, so this is what we need to do. So here we fetch the notebooks. This is the underscore dashboard. So now that we're fetching notebooks here, we don't have to fetch them. We can do matches. Find. Match dot ID is equal to. It doesn't. It's just a string, so this is not gonna give me type safety. Wait, what if I do something like this? Okay, so 0, 1. So we need routes dashboard. So if I do loader data dot yes, and now here we pass the notebooks in here. So loader data, route, component props, loader data dot notebooks, and in here we're gonna say interface app sidebar props extends component props of type of sidebar, and we're gonna say notebooks is what is notebooks? Return type of get notebooks, and we're gonna change this, and notebooks is gonna be props notebooks. Okay, so this needs to be weighted. Okay, there we go, and let's see if this works now. It doesn't. Alright, next step, figure out why. Okay, so this is import type. Again, doesn't. Okay, so get notebooks is now used where? Here and the app sidebar. But it's not called, it's just used as a type. So that part we've solved. Create notebook is used here. Okay. So I guess this is used somewhere on, okay. So now if I remove this button, would that work? No. Yeah, so we need to migrate the rest of it. But I don't want to migrate this just yet. Let's see what the other components are that are causing the issue. Okay, so this one. Get notebook by ID. Alright, so this is not used, so this is not causing our issues. This is not used at all, and this is used in the... Oh, wait a second. I didn't... okay. So const fetcher actually delete node fetcher. I could have sworn I already implemented this. Wait, I implemented it for the node, right? Okay. Okay, now I know what the issues are. So, actually, this is gonna be really easy to do. So check this out. So we're gonna copy these two, paste them in, and then rename them to notebook ID Yeah, so I actually made a mistake. This should have been note instead of notebook. And this should have been note create. Alright. So the types are wrong here now. API note ID. Okay, perfect. API note. And this is the good thing about the href function that I was saying earlier, because now it caught my renaming and my mistakes, so I'm good to actually submit again. And here it doesn't catch it because I changed it to an actually valid route. But the other stuff is okay. Alright, so very easy changes here that we need to do. Notebook ID, notebook and ID, and we're gonna do delete notebook. Use delete notebook fetcher, and this should be notebook ID, notebook ID. It's not. Okay, so here we have API node, that's good. Node. Use delete notebook fetcher. Ah, this goddamn TypeScript server. Okay. And here use create notebook. API notebook create. Just double checking to make sure I didn't miss anything. Create notebook. I guess. What is the function name? Okay, here it is. What is this notebook? Please tell me the TypeScript. Name, user ID, created that. Okay. Alright, so here on the delete it's the same, but on the create it's not. So we need the schema that's inside of create node button. No, create notebook button. Export const, rename this to be create notebook schema. Alright, and what are we doing? So user ID, so the name and the user ID. Okay, so the user ID is gonna be as loud string, I guess, and create notebook. Alright, so let's use this schema in our route. Here we're just gonna create notebook schema, import it, and import this one. Alright, we can just simplify this to be data. And I think that's pretty much it. And now we can actually replace the node. Why is this file complaining? It's not from here, it's from node. Here we also need to change it to node. And then we do the same thing here. So, because they're pretty similar, we can probably just put the fetcher in here. Use create notebook fetcher, create node fetcher, and then on the onSubmit, we just do submit values and user ID. Create notebook schema. property. And we don't need this inside of here, obviously. Alrighty, so where were we? Create notebook. Okay, now this works. We don't need this. We just move this here. Set is open, set is loading. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, and we're gonna we're just gonna delete all of this. Why is this wrapped with braces? Okay. Aha, it's awaited. Alright. Okay, I think that's it. And then for the notebook card, we also have to steal the note card here. So delete notebook fetcher. Use delete notebook fetcher. Notebook ID is notebook.id. And here I think we can also, yes, it's gonna be pretty similar. Alright, notebook. Yes. And how far are we? Bam! Alright, so we have finally migrated all the functionality, I guess. Test. Right, where is this coming from? Okay, so now we need to fix the easy stuff. So this is not async, this is not async. So what is async? Let's see. We don't need this, this is good. 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 This is also fine. Here it is. Confederation error. I'm guessing this is caused by the app sidebar here. Yeah. Whoops. Because we're not using, we don't really need the suspense there because we're not using any sort of async components. And alright, so okay, so now this doesn't work, but let's figure out why. So we want to create notebook button. And I'm gonna guess it has something to do with this. Console log user ID. Let's see what gets logged. nothing gets logged. Why is that? Okay, so probably the onSubmit does not get called by the form for some reason. What are we doing wrong? So the name and this user ID is a string optional. Maybe this would make it work. Ah, okay. Okay, so I'm not logged in. Ah, okay. Right. So this means that this didn't work. So console log await auth client get session. So let's see what happens when I try it again. Alright, so the data is not there. But I don't really want to do this on... So let's do it a different way. Let's not do this on the client at all. So let's just submit this. And we're gonna do this in the notebook. Alright, so here we're gonna do user ID is equal to await auth API get session. And this requires a request, I think. Yes. Okay, so we get the session. And then we're gonna do data user ID is session.user.id. And we're gonna say it's there just to see if this is gonna work. We test. I could have probably added a log here. Let's see what gets logged on the server. Okay, what's going on here? Aha, null. What did I do wrong? Oh my god, I think I know what it is. Let's try, let me just try something real quick. Because I changed so I changed the port for authentication. So this could be the reason it is dying. So for 280. No, it's again null. But wait, how is the... Alright, so there's something I've missed with better auth. I'm just not sure how I figure it. Okay, so let's see what's in the application. Where could it store it? Okay, so not in the cookies, obviously. Here not. Okay, so but how am I on the? Hey, I'll see you later. I think I'm gonna end the stream pretty soon anyways, so you're not gonna miss much. But yeah, so the only thing that's weird is the cookie stuff. If I remember correctly, Betterauth stores authentication in cookies, right? Okay, yes. And what is the cookie that's used by the auth client? Password. Let me just check my .environment off screen. So okay. Alright, I have no idea what I messed up with Betterauth. What I'm confused about is the fact that it's actually, like, it logged me in, but somehow it doesn't have the user ID. Wait. So let's go back to the drawing board. So the dashboard itself. Ah, wait, yeah. Okay, I'm stupid. So just because I'm on the dashboard doesn't mean I'm logged in. Login. Okay, that didn't work again, I guess. Okay, I'm super confused by the fact that let's see what happens. API dot. Oh, sorry, I have somebody at my door. Just give me a second. Alright, so there's something weird going on. And I have no idea what, so let's console log the session. It's null. Why is the console log? Okay, am I missing something obvious from like Betterauth? Cookies are used to... Okay, well this seems fine, but the weird thing is if I open up like the application cookies, there's no cookies for the, so the cookie isn't being set, but I'm redirected to the dashboard. Why is that? Let's get the login route. Oh, wait. Could it be the... Where is the... but I guess it would... Just look at Betterauth. Get started. Iterations, weeks. Okay. Okay, this we've done. This we've also done. Or client sign in email. Let me just try what happens when I do notebook create button. Where is it? Okay. I just want to see what would happen if I actually tried this on the... Okay, it's again logging. Man, what happens when I log in? Login form. Okay, so I submit this to the login route. So the sign in user what does this return? Ah, okay. I think I've got it. So this should okay, I think this is it. So yeah, let's try it again. Okay. Okay, but yeah, now I'm not. Okay, so if action data. Okay, if success in action data. And success action data dot success is equal to, or actually, and not load this, else if action data, actually we don't need the else if, we can just return this. And we're good. Actually, winter is else. Okay. Okay. So let's try this again. Okay, the cookie is not set again. What am I doing wrong here? Wait, I made a request to sign out. Login. Okay, let's see what happens. Login data. Okay, let me just try one more thing. Something like this. Data null response and redirect token URL user. Okay, I'm using probably the if I remember correctly, yeah, as response. Okay, this is what's causing the issue. So where is it? Okay, so here I want to return it as a response, right? And I think login should work now. So login. There we go. All right, so the issue was that I logged myself in, but I didn't store it in the cookie. So what would happen is I would temporarily be logged in, but I wasn't really. So okay, so this doesn't close, but we can see the notes, and then okay, perfect. All right. So just to recap, because we need to return it as a response, and I guess that means that both this and sign up, this also needs to be a response. So basically here we need to do as response true and return this and not this. Okay, is it here? My bad. So the cookie was not really stored properly, and what happened was I would log myself in and it wouldn't be stored in the cookie, so I was like logged in but I wasn't. So you just need to return the response that's gonna set the cookies, and that's pretty much it. And as you can see, I console log it here, and now it's actually there. So that was the issue there. And now that we have that up and running, we also created the notes. So yeah, the dashboard is kind of there, so you can like create notes now, and I can click on this and search it, I think. Yeah, the search works as well. So if I create a new one, alright, I guess I have a bug where this is not closed. But yeah, now we can create them, and I guess this route hasn't been implemented yet, but we're getting there. Alright, so thank you everybody for watching. I really need to go now. I have an appointment and I'm kind of like 20 minutes late to it. So yeah, that's it for today. I'm gonna probably continue streaming either today or tomorrow and finish this up, because we're very close to actually finishing up the migration. But I just kind of want to wrap it up by saying that the actual migration from Next to React Router is pretty simple and can be done incrementally, because what we did was here you have your source, and we migrated the whole app into source, and this is the React Router one. But if I wanted to, I could just turn back. So in the package JSON, I could literally go back to whatever it was. Oh yeah, so we have the dev command here anyways. So basically we could still go back to Next. So if you want to migrate, you can just like incrementally do it, and by the time you're ready, you just like delete this and change this to be like read, and you're running on React Router. So that's really an easy way for you to migrate your applications. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna push this to GitHub, and I'm gonna continue tomorrow anyways, so you'll see the second part of me migrating this tomorrow. Do I have anything else I wanted to say before I leave you guys? I don't think so. I hope you enjoyed this live stream and had a little bit of fun and hopefully learned something. Let me know what you think on like social media or anywhere, and yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye! And now you're gonna watch me awkwardly until I figure out